Vice President Mike Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien have all arrived in Turkey. The U.S. delegation now trying to convince President Recep Erdogan to halt his military offensive in northeastern Syria. RT's Sayeh Tavangar is joining us now in studio with more to this story. So, Sayeh, what can we expect from this apparently emergency meeting in Ankara?
Right. Well, President Trump dispatched this delegation Monday following a phone call with Turkish President Erdogan, who has so far ignored ceasefire warnings from the U.S. and other NATO allies. Now, Turkish forces have so far captured more than 400 square miles of territory in Syria since Operation Peace Spring began 9 days ago. Now, ahead of the U.S. delegation to Ankara, the White House released a letter written by President Trump to President Erdogan, which was sent on October 9th. And in that letter, President Trump wrote, "You don't have to be responsible for slaughtering thousands of people. You don't want to be responsible for destroying the Turkish economy, and I will." And the letter ended with, "Don't be a tough guy. Don't be a fool." Now, according to the Turkish newspaper Hürriyet, after reading Trump's letter, Erdogan threw it away. And just this morning, once again, President Trump has defended his decision to pull out U.S. troops from Syria. And in a tweet, he wrote, "Am I the only person who can fight for the safety of our troops and bring them home from the ridiculous and endless and costly endless wars?" So with these recent Trump statements, his delegation is tasked with to somehow, some way to be able to convince the Turkish leader, President Erdogan, to cease fire. Now, keep in mind, this emergency meeting is happening at the same time while the Turkish leader is also meeting with Russia's envoy to Syria.
Well, Sayeh, what about these sanctions that they were all talking about? Have they been effective?
Well, President Trump has repeatedly defended his sanctions and tariffs on Turkey. Now, he says his penalties, which include sanctions on individual ministers and 50% tariff on Turkish steel export to the U.S., are the strongest you can imagine. But trade figures really contradict what President Trump is saying. Now, according to U.S. government statistics, Turkish steel exports to the U.S. have dropped dramatically in recent years, so meaning that taxing them will likely have minimal impact on Turkey's economy, which is why a lot of U.S. lawmakers are saying these sanctions are really not enough. What President Trump is doing is really not enough.
And here's the thing that not a lot of people know. How do you think this situation might affect the U.S. nuclear weapons that are kept in Turkey? Yeah,
you're exactly right. Not a lot of people know about that. Well, President Trump acknowledged that 50 nuclear warheads are kept at an air base in Turkey. Now, despite his comments that they're safe because Turkey is a NATO ally, the State Department and the Department of Energy are conducting an urgent review to assess how to remove these nuclear weapons from the Turkish base. So now, how do you stop these weapons of mass destruction from falling into the wrong hands, and how do you remove them without causing a drastic diplomatic insult to Turkey? I mean, these are questions that have been asked repeatedly throughout the years. And it's also really important to mention that where these weapons are stored in Turkey is less than 50 miles from the Turkey and Syria border.
Yeah, probably stuff that they should have thought about before all this happened.
Exactly.
So, all right, Sayeh Tavangar, thank you so much for filing that report.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.